All right, hello EDC 707. This is my Culminating project. This is Shahalini Gilbert, and I will be presenting to you on teacher leadership. All right, so my first slide is on teacher leadership and what is teacher leadership. I found this quote on the Association for Supervision and Curriculum Development website for educators. We use this website periodically at my school, and we have videos and webinars and different modules that you can do off of this website. So I saw this quote, and I will read it to you. It says, "From the minute they step foot inside their classroom, all teachers act as leaders. But the defined position of teacher leader is increasingly serving as a cornerstone of a well-functioning school system, especially given the ever-evolving demands of the education profession, such as more rigorous standards, high-stakes federal and state achievement mandates, increasing diverse student population, greater numbers of school-aged children living in poverty, and the hyper pace of technological change." All right, so I saw that quote, and I thought that kind of summed up everything what a teacher leader is. In my opinion, teacher leaders collaborate with everyone they come in contact with, whether it's a teacher, a student, a specialist, because they come in contact with a lot of different people being a teacher leader. A teacher leader is a lifelong learner. They must understand that when they begin their degree. Teacher leaders understand the importance of balance and growth in all aspects of life, and that came from Wilmore 2007. All right, our next slide, teacher leader characteristics / professional dispositions. All right, so a teacher leader, the characteristics of a teacher leader, in my opinion, is you have to have strong communication skills. You have to be able to communicate with your colleagues and your students and your parents, even though that'll be hard sometimes. You have to know how to communicate. Honesty, commitment, discernment, and passion. Those are just a few that I felt like was important for a teacher leader, and those are characteristics I would want as a teacher leader. I feel like our teacher leaders that we have in our school has those things. I know it's hard to work with adults, let alone parents and students, but having honesty, commitment, discernment, and passion is a must, in my opinion. All right, the importance of professional development for teacher leaders. Professional development, teachers do professional development all the time. Every quarter I'm going somewhere for professional development, whether it's in the classroom or with my specialist or somewhere. I'm doing it, and it's, it can get frustrating being out of the classroom trying to do professional development, but it's a must. Professional development is also the only way educators can learn that they are able to better their performance and raise student achievements. In public schools, you must have effective development in order to affect students. Professional development is helping teachers continue to learn and strengthen their performance. And that's all it is. It becomes a pain at times because you would rather be in your classroom, but professional development is very needed for teachers. All right, my personal PD goals summarized. My personal professional development goal this year was to encourage more play in the classroom. I am a special education teacher in the middle school, so we do not have a whole lot of play in the classroom. It's mostly getting ready for state testing or trying to get them to pass their standards to make it to the high school. So I wanted to encourage play in the classroom. So I incorporated doing Uno maybe once a week. We could do Monopoly. And we have a blurt out game where I have to give them facts and they have to blurt out the word. So with those play games, the kids are encouraged to work together. They are encouraged to think on their own or use somebody else's brain. Play in the classroom is not always unorganized play. You can have organized chaos, and that's what we have in our academic enhancement class. So once a week I try to encourage play in the classroom, and I think it has been beneficial to the kids. They look forward to doing it. It's not just computer games, playing on computer games or playing a PlayStation game, or they're actually playing word games and Monopoly, learning how to monopolize the board. All right, the next slide, the role of the teacher in terms of educational change or reform. All right, my 2 points that I put down were advocate and activist. I feel like as teachers, we must advocate for our students. Being a special education teacher, I have to advocate for my caseload. So I have to go on their behalf in meetings and let the teachers know what I'm seeing in the classroom and how I feel like they're doing. I have to advocate for my kids. And I have to teach them to be self-advocates. A lot of kids do not know how to self-advocate, but that's something that we're learning, and they are now going into their meetings when they go into the 7th grade. But a teacher should be an advocate for her kids as well as her school. Activist was the next bullet point that I chose. And to be an activist, we have to get a part of our unions, AEA, NEA, different things that you can get a part of to help get money for your schools and pass different laws and just be in on the state part of your wherever school you're in. So to be an advocate and an activist, I feel like is a major role for educational change and reform for teachers. All right, our next slide, teacher leadership prospects. Teacher leadership prospects. So I feel like as a teacher leader, you could start off as a lead teacher, and that could be leading your like a 6th grade caseload or a 7th grade caseload, 8th grade caseload, or you could be a lead teacher in your department, whether it's special ed, whether it's the English department or math department. So lead teacher, I feel like is where you can start off to get that beginning experience. The next prospect for teacher leadership is program area specialist, and whether that's in reading or special ed, it could be a math. They have different areas specialists that we have around here, and that's just being a specialist in the area that you feel like the best in. Me, I would want to be a program area specialist in special education, since that's what I have been teaching for the past 6 years. The next teacher leadership role would be assistant principal, and then on up to principal. Those are teacher leadership prospects that I think this class would benefit me to go into. All right, reflections of teacher leadership in your career. I have been in, I think, 3 or 4 different schools, so I've had quite a few teacher leaders, some good, some bad, but I was able to learn from all of them. The good teacher leaders that I've had was able to communicate well. They did not have favorites. Every teacher or child was, it wasn't a black and white. It had some gray areas, but they did not show favoritism. They was able to communicate and lead their school effectively. Now, some of the bad teacher leadership roles was having a principal to go out on vacation with some of his colleagues and not all of his colleagues, and seeing it posted on social media. So we know, when we come to the school, we see where he has favoritism towards certain teachers, and they get to come in late or leave early, and versus if we wanted to do it. Like I said, I just feel like from the previous slide that communication skills for a good leader, discernment, passion, and just honesty, how you carry yourself. All right, my next slide, how have your views transformed pertaining to teacher leadership? I don't feel like my views transformed. I feel like my views stayed the same. By taking this course, my views were validated. So a lot of the views that I had on what a leader should be were validated in the book, Teacher Leadership, Improving Teaching and Learning from the Inside the Classroom by Elaine L. Wilmore. I feel like, reading this book and going through the modules, it really validated how I felt about teacher leadership. Like I said, with the communication from the previous slide, I feel like that's the main goal for me for teacher leadership, is to be able to communicate with your teachers, your staff, parents, and students. All right, other valuable information that I've learned. I saw this picture online, and I thought it was great for teacher leadership. And it's about a pack of wolves. And when I read about it, I was like, okay. I was kind of confused. I'm like, what is all these markings? What's going on here? And then as I read through it, the main thing that stuck out to me is being a leader is not about being in front. It's about taking care of your team. So as a principal, as a lead teacher, or as a leader in the community, you have to be able to take care of your team. You may not always be in the forefront, but you're in the back making sure everything is taken care of. Your face may not always be seen, your voice may not always be heard, but you're there making sure everybody is taken care of. So I thought this picture did it justice, so I included it on my presentation. All right, 2 or 3 questions that I still had pertaining teacher leadership was, as a teacher leader, how do you effectively lead without being a tyrant? Some people do not know how to not be a tyrant. It's like they feel like they have to be in control of everything, or they tell you what to do, but they're not willing to do it. How do you effectively lead without being a tyrant? So that's a question of how do you not get that power hungry sensation and just be able to be a good leader. The next question that I had was, as a teacher leader, how do you mediate between conflicting sides? So with conflicting sides, it could be between students, it could be between teachers, because sometimes co-workers don't get along. So if you're the teacher leader or the principal or assistant principal, how do you mediate between 2 adults who are not getting along without taking the sides? So that was 2 things that I still had questions about or would want more information on how to maneuver through. All right, and this is my reference page. I used our teacher leadership book, Wilmore 2007, and then I also used the Association for Supervision and Curriculum Development website for education. All right, and I have enjoyed this class. It has benefited me a lot. I will be using the book and the knowledge that I've learned from this course, and I will be sharing it with my colleagues. Thank you.